Kiko Feller. Kiko works with our international students alongside Dean Hunter, and she will be our third judge. That doesn't mean that it's a big competition, you have to feel stressed out. It just means we want to give away some prizes. So, thanks for coming. Help yourself to food. If you have not yet signed in, please do sign in on the round table. And don't miss the sparkling waters that are right behind Joanna and Kaz.
Right here.
Yep. One more plug for our Welcome Back Week events. We have an event every day next week to welcome students who have been off campus studying anywhere. And we hope that you'll look at our posters and also at the ad that's in our newspaper. The Colgate Maroon newspaper has an ad that is promoting those, and we'll hope to see you next week as well. So thank you. Okay, who's going to go first? Somebody has to go first. Is there somebody who has to leave early? Is Gabrielle here? She wants to finish eating, but her plate's bare. She's almost finished eating. How about Sam? Is Sam here?
Surname?
Sam Joe?
Yeah, that's me.
That's you. Are you ready?
I don't have a particular story in my head right now. Sorry.
You don't have a story right now, but you RSVP that you would tell a story. So you're thinking about it.
I ticked maybe.
You're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Is Tristan here? I didn't see Tristan. Guess what? It's going to be Claire Carson going first. Yeah. I know, but you have to stay on the stage. That's the stage.
I don't think they're going to be able to hear you.
They'll hear you.
They'll hear you. Speak up.
Okay.
We have a recorder right there too. So.
Oh, I see. Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Claire. I went on the SIT Bolivia approved program in fall of 2018. And so my story is about one of our village day excursions. We went on excursions like every couple of weeks to different parts of Bolivia. So to set the scene for this one, we did a village day in Tocoli, which is in Lake Titicaca, which is like the highest elevation freshwater lake in the world. And each of the people in my program were staying with a different family from this indigenous community. So all of them, their first language was also not Spanish, so we were communicating in each of our second language. And so it was very hard to communicate. But basically, the house that I was staying in was on the top of a mountain. And so every day we would walk all the way down to the lake, all the way down this mountain. And we would bring our cows and our llama and our puppy. And I consider myself someone who's like pretty outdoorsy. Like I'm a leader for hiking club and ski club, but I was very humbled by walking down the mountain behind my host mom because there were no paths or trails. Like it's pretty much like high elevation vegetation, but it was still like I had no idea where we were going and we went a different way every time. And so one day we were walking back up the mountain and it was like a few days in. So at this point I was allowed to bring the llama like on a leash and I had the puppy in my hand. And I had my purse, which was like overfilling with stuff. And so we kept like stopping every once in a while because I was like very out of breath. And also the cows would like stop to graze a little bit. And so after we had rested for a little bit, we kept walking and the cows got a little antsy and started like walking off into weird directions. So my host mom was like, all right, you go on ahead, like I'll gather the cows and we'll keep moving. So I'm like having the time of my life with my llama and my puppy in my hand. And it occurs to me that I should like check to see if I have all my stuff. And at first I wasn't going to because I really was enjoying holding this puppy, even though I wasn't supposed to be touching the puppy. It was not vaccinated, so don't do that. And I realized I should definitely check, and so I put the puppy down and looked at my purse, and I didn't have my phone. So I panicked because all of my pictures from abroad were on my phone. But I was like struggling with like how to tell my host mom because again, we weren't communicating very well, and to be like this girl, like, oh no, my life is over because I lost my phone was a little weird to me. And so I happened to pass by one of the other houses where another one of the people from my program was staying, and I was like in full panic mode. I don't know where my host mom was. She was like halfway down the mountain still with cows. And I like told them what happened, but then we had to go through the whole process of them being excited and wanting to take selfies with the llama. I understand. And then we started going, like, trying to retrace our steps to figure out where my phone was. And we ran into my mom and told her what happened. And she was like, all right, like, I'll bring the cows back and I'll take the llama now and then I'll catch up with you. And so I make it down the path. And like I said, we went a different way every single time. And so right as I got to a point where I was like, I have no idea where to go. Also, my friend was completely useless. Like, she could not like navigate the, like, I thought I was bad, but she was also like way worse at walking, I guess. And so I come to a point where I'm like, I'm lost, I don't know where we are. And then my mom shows up and she was like, okay, why don't you guys like look like more carefully in this area. I think she was just trying to give us something to do. And I'll like look further down where we were earlier. She disappears. I tried to like look for her because I wasn't seeing it anywhere and I could not find her. Like she was very far away. And then like 10 minutes later, she came back with my phone in her hand. And I don't know where she found it or how she found it, but she was basically like, oh, like it's a good thing you didn't lose it on the road. Like that would have sucked. It probably would have gotten stolen.
Oh my God.
So I have no idea how she found it, but I have my phone now and all my pictures, so it's a good ending to the story.
Thank you, Claire.
And do you have your selfie with the llama?
I do have my selfie with Lana.
Then that'll be up here.
That's right.
Such Shelley.
We need to see the selfie with the llama. That was great, thank you. Claire, who was on SIT in Bolivia. Awesome. Okay, who's gonna go next? Wonderful.
So I'm Gabrielle. I was abroad in Dakar, Senegal with CIEE, and I stayed with a homestay for my entire time there, and I think one of the most interesting experiences I had that people couldn't really comprehend was the fact that I had to take bucket showers for 4 months. And I cannot explain to you the excitement when my parents came for spring break and I stayed in a hotel and got to use a normal shower. I was evaluating like hotels by the quality of the shower I was taking. But I think a really cool experience with my bucket shower was that the reason that I had to do that, first of all, was that I was on the second floor of the house, and during the day the water did not rise to that floor, and there was definitely not warm water rising to that floor. So my host mom would heat up a bucket of water for me whenever I was going to take a shower, and then you add cold water to it to get more water and to get it down to the right temperature. And the shower isn't exactly a shower, it's more of a corner in the bathroom with a metal like bar that kind of goes like this on the corners, with a shower curtain that's rolled up around it, so it's basically not a shower curtain. And I remember one time when I got home from school, I decided I was gonna take my bucket shower then, and as she's heating the water up, the power goes out. Now this bathroom has no windows. There's a tiny little like opening at the top for some light to come in, but it's basically pitch black unless the electricity is working. So I was like, okay, well I'm not gonna decide not to take my shower now after she's heating up the water, which takes a significant amount of time. Like I was like, okay, I gotta take my bucket shower once the water is done heating up. Unfortunately, the electricity had not come back on. So I started searching through my room for this. Thankfully, I brought a headlamp with me. I took the headlamp and wrapped it around the bar above the shower to get like a beam of light over my little corner in the bathroom. I took my phone and put it on the shelf above the sink, had my flashlight on, facing in the direction of the shower to kind of get some light so that I was able to take a shower. And it worked quite well. I was actually very surprised at how much light I had, and it was really, really good. And then just other experiences in my homestay that I think were really interesting, like with animals. There was, I don't even know why, but for a significant amount of the time I was there was a goat on our roof. I don't know why it was there, but I remember like for weeks in the middle of the night, all I would hear was it like banging, like hours on end, and I was like, oh my God. I took like recordings of it on WhatsApp to send to my family, and like you can clearly hear it. Like it's insane how clear it is. And everyone's just like, why is it there? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what. And oh my God, we were so terrified constantly. I was like, what if I'm gonna end up like having it for dinner one night? Like, what if I was like so terrified. Like when I stopped hearing it, I was like, oh my God. I was like, what's happening? But I know some people would have, you know, animals on their roof, and they were worried because, you know, all your clothing's hand washed, and they're like, yeah, so I got my pants back this weekend, and there was a giant hole in them. Apparently the goat ate through it, so thankfully that never happened for me. My clothes came back all intact. But something actually I did wear today is something popular in Senegal is to get clothing custom made, and so this was actually made for me by my host mom. So I just thought it would be fun to show that. But yeah.
Thank you. That's Gabrielle, who went to Senegal with CIEE. Awesome. Okay, Sam, are you thinking?
I'm thinking.
She's still thinking. So how about Gracie?
Okay. Did I sign up?
Yes, you did.
Oh. Hi, I'm Gracie. I went abroad last semester to SIT Vietnam. What I like about SIT is that I got to see the entire country of Vietnam, or as much of it as I could in 4 months. We were all over the place, but in the beginning, I was in a homestay in Ho Chi Minh City, also called Saigon in Vietnam. It has about 14 million people. It's a very, very compact city. I lived with a family in District 7, which is a very interesting area. Has a lot of very poor people and a lot of very rich people, so I was at like the crossroads of that, in a very tall and small home, which also had a lot of animals on the roof. I woke up every morning with roosters, and it was so beautiful. They kept all their garden on the roof, so I had a lot of fresh vegetables and fruits and chicken eggs every day. And my host dad was an ex-police officer, so a retired cop from the town. Didn't speak English, neither did his wife, who was a retired nurse. But he was very tough. He was very, very strong guy, very hard. He would have his tobacco every day and drink his beer outside and like do karaoke, but also like was like gruff, like a very gruff man. He and I bonded. He was tough. He increased security in the area, like the CCTV cameras around, so he had a reputation of being just like a tough, strong guy. And there I showed up one day. I was like, hi, I'm Gracie. And he didn't really know how to take me, and I didn't really know how to take him. It was a rough interaction in the beginning. But our first meal was like this beautiful course that my mother prepared with a lot of local Ho Chi Minh City cuisine, which is a tendency for being pretty sweet. But my dad brought out a chili pepper for himself. And I was like, okay, I looked at it, he looked at me, we didn't really know how to communicate. And he got up, went to the fridge, pulled out a chili pepper, and put it in front of me and sat down. And we just kind of looked at each other, we're just like eating our soup, and he stares at me, makes eye contact for like a minute, and puts the whole chili pepper in his mouth. And I had never even spoken to him, didn't know how to speak to him. I didn't know what to do, and I have a little bit of anxiety, so I looked at him, looked right back, and popped the pepper in my mouth too. And I wasn't going to be that woman. So I kept this face on and was just like, nom, which means delicious in Vietnamese, and just kept eating through the whole meal. And at the, like 3 hours later or so, my host sister comes in my room and is like, oh my gosh, Gracie, like, I was just talking to my dad and he's very impressed by your ability to eat that pepper. And I, meanwhile, had a bar of soap in my mouth, like was doing very unwell. Yeah, had some bathroom complications, like vomiting, whatever, not a big deal. But I was like, yeah, whatever, it's not a big deal, I love spicy food, whatever. So yeah, for the next month, every single meal, there I was, eating an entire chili pepper. My spice tolerance is now at like a 10 out of 10, pretty good. So it made me stronger physically, emotionally, mentally, all of that. And yeah, there we are.
Gracie, SIT Vietnam. That's great. How interesting that the first 3 stories have been connected to host family experiences. That's awesome. Well, Jabril, thank you for volunteering. Yes, you're nice. Yeah. Walk slowly. You'll think of one.
Are you gonna tell a K-Town story?
Kate, you know you're coming next.
I need more time to think. I will share, but I need more time to think.
All right.
I promise.
I'll save it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam.
Hi everybody, I was actually abroad for a whole year. I was in Cape Town in fall 2018 and then Florence, Italy in spring. Cape Town was a study group and then Florence was a group program. So I feel like I should tell 2 stories in comparison.
Great. So hold on. This is Sam,
Yeah.
Joe. You went to Cape Town, South Africa on a Colgate study group.
Yes.
And to
Florence.
Florence.
It was
with-
Saatchi, spring 2019.
And in Florence, that was SU Florence?
No, it was Studio Arts College International.
Oh, the art
Studio art
school.
program.
Saatchi Art School, got it.
These 2 stories are basically me being both, sort of. Let me just start with saying weed is decriminalized in South Africa. You just cannot smoke it on a public premise. So it's kind of different, but like you'll see. So there was this one night, my friends and I, they were all South Africans, and we went to this bar and this girl asked me, oh, have you ever been to Signal Hill, which is like a really cool mountain? And I was like, oh no, I haven't. And she was like, oh no, it's such a beautiful drive, you have to go. And she had a car, she was like, let's go. I was like, okay. And one friend from all this friend group just really wanted to smoke. So we were like, okay, like we'll bring it. Like it's legal if you don't smoke it on a public premise. And we got to Signal Hill, such a beautiful drive. And we just, we were chilling in the parking lot and they were like, oh, like, this guy, his name is Dang, and he's like, I want to roll this now, blah. I was like, okay. And then he like was really mad and I was like, do you need help? And then, it was such a stupid offer. And I swear to God, there was definitely a hidden security camera somewhere at the parking lot. So we were, just me and right now, my best friend now, but we were just friends back then. My best friend and I were rolling. This 2 police cars pulled by, and we were just like, shit, you know? Yeah, and then they were just straight up like trying to scare the shit out of us, but funny thing is afterwards all of my South African friends told me that on the spot they knew nothing was gonna happen because it's South African police. But I was scared. I was like, am I gonna get deported? And they were saying like, what do you have to say for yourself? I was like, nothing really. Like, oh, we were trying to, talk our way out of this. Like, oh, we weren't gonna smoke it. Like, we're really sorry. We'll never do it again. And then this one police officer just kept like.